Hello. In the previous video, the second video of the motion transition tutorial, I made some simple setup for having like 3 buffers. Maybe I can recap that. Let's say I put output this. If I say source one, so it's the same thing, and maybe noise. Just want to add some color here. And you don't have to do all these things, but just for fun. So I have noise, and of course if you switch between them here, you can use it as a switcher. And let's say layer noise, source 02, then it's completely like overlaid, so there's no transition. But if you say mask with OC11 thresh, then you start to have this kind of transition between 2 buffers. So that's where I left. And I thought it would be fun actually to make some transition filters, and like not just this, but I think I also did some kind of kaleido. Okay, so I'm gonna just like keep experimenting with this now. Well, let's just do this, and then it's like square. I mean, like rectangular. Maybe I pass in thresh 0.50 so that it's the the boundaries a bit more crisp. Or if you say 99 or 99, I don't know, 1000 almost, then it becomes like circular or oval. That's one thing. The other thing you could do is maybe flip the direction of OC, then it starts to like expand from the inside. I wonder if this works. Yeah, then if you do like Kaleido 2, then it's like wipe, but coming from the center. And of course, if you rotate this with math I divided by 2 divided by 2, right? Yeah, so it becomes like a door kind of situation. I mean, you can go like this, whatever you want with the rotation. So that's that. So this OSC with as masking, with OSC with like small number as masking is super useful for this kind of purpose. And what else would I do? I mean, of course you can do like noise, but then it's, yeah, I mean, it kind of works, right? And then actually, this is really like masking. It's not really like transition. It doesn't go like completely to one side. But what you could do is maybe combine them together with like add. Something like that. Maybe keep. So second parameter add is the multiplier. So if you say like 0, then there's no noise added to it. So you just see OSC. But then if you add like 0.5, then you see noise effect a little bit. This is actually interesting. I didn't really expect this, but it's a bit like more a natural transition. And what if you don't do thresh? Maybe this is a little bit uglier. Yeah, you see like both textures a little bit overlaid together. I don't like this. So this is kind of nice. I want to keep it. So I just comment this out. How does it work? This, yes. I should have copied. No, it's okay. So go back to source 02 out. what are the other things I could do? This is already super interesting, so I really even want to like finish the video here, just have like nice moment and not to mess it up. But what other thing? I mean, of course you could do like Warnoy. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit subtle. I think what's happening is noise here goes from -1 to 1, so it kind of like subtracts and adds to it. And but Warnoy is 0 to 1, so it's not really subtracting. So what I could do is probably like offset this a little bit. Maybe I keep the parameter here 1 and add solid. Wait. Oh, this is really tricky. I'll keep it simple. -0.5, 0.5, something like this. Oh, but it doesn't really like completely change. 2.5 maybe. Yeah, I mean it didn't really change much. Kind of, or maybe make the Vorlai a little bit smaller. Yeah, maybe it's more interesting. Maybe we don't even need this. I don't know. Yeah, this is nice, I think. And of course, like, I mean, if you want to like work with different textures, you can use render as debug, as I said in the other video, and so that you don't have like stress like what's happening inside, but you can see what's happening. And for example, this O1 is the one down below, so I don't know, I want to add color, or maybe like I want to, maybe no color is better in this example. Modulate with another OC. I don't know. I can't even spell. Okay. And if you're satisfied, you can always go back to render 0. Just as an example. Actually, what if instead of this Warnoy, what if I use the same modulator here and there? Yeah, I mean, you get the idea, like this texture in the background, kind of like when it reveals, it has the same curve. So you can like play with all these things too. And okay, what else? So I already made this example. I already showed it in the last video. This example where it just like keep changing these different parameters on its own. Okay, just stop it. And I made some things here: fade, wipe, zoom, door, left, right, up, down. So it's quite simple. I think I covered like most of them. Other thing you could do is probably like just use the shape as a mask. So this is just masking, no how do you say, transition. So the idea is that I'm gonna start like, so now it's the shape is like completely filling it, so you don't see the background. But then if you say, hey, probably scroll doesn't work, so you have to do something like, okay, let's do this 0.5, so you see both things, and then I do scroll x 0, a bit slower. And the idea here is, so now you see that this thing is like moving constantly, and I'll just zoom it in by scale 2, and so not the whole texture itself, but I don't know why I'm just being gesture, but the mask texture is zoomed in, so you only see that part, because if you don't do this, the problem is that scroll X is just like repeating texture, so you see sometimes like little like weird lines, but what's happening is that it's just like scrolling and wrapping around, so it's always staying there. I don't know if it makes sense. But if you like intentionally make this square smaller and then like repeat, like, so it's like kind of looping again and again, but it gives some space, like it's like this, and you're just like tracking the middle part, so the window is like going fading out, or moving out and in. And you can also do it like, wait, if you do the same thing but with scroll Y. Yeah, so the effect is kind of similar to the OSC I did in the other example, I mean the previous example, but this may be a bit more intuitive to some people. Just trying like different ways to do it. And of course you can do like scroll X, and like in the other one, mouse of X, was it? Divided by width. Oh, it's actually going the other way. So maybe I would add minus. Yeah. Oh, so also it's like wrapping around, so maybe 2 times. No, divided by 2. Maybe. Yeah. So it's kind of like you're moving. You don't see the cursor here right now, but you're kind of like moving the texture with your mouse, which is kind of fun actually. It's like same as like what I did in the other video, but with a different approach. Divided 2 because it's scaled. Okay, this is getting a little bit messy. And of course you could do scroll without X and Y. It takes 2 parameters, and one is for X and the other one is for Y, so it's like just like combined version. Yeah, so now it's like completely like you could move it around with your mouse. I mean, depends if you want to do it or not, but I mean, it's like I said before, if you use like a MIDI controller, you could, you know, pass it as MIDI input, and that could be actually really fun, like changing the transition with your MIDI controller. So I keep this like this, and maybe I do another example. I actually was not prepared so much because the first example went too good. Maybe I do the Kaleido thing again. And so mask. How did I even do it in the other version? I don't know. But maybe just also see, okay. 1 and thresh 0.5. Oh, by the way, if you do like thresh, so the other one I did before is thresh with 0.5 and 0, but you could also do it with like different number. And what happens is that this colorful one, which is noise O2 buffer, stays longer, and the other one is staying less because of like how thresholding is working. You can see I could also do the mask inside as O3 and this as O3 and render everything. So you see that the one down below, the bottom right, is the mask texture. So it's just like going from black to white. And when it's black, it's taking the texture from O1, which is a OSC, and when it's white, it's taking the texture from O2, which is the noise, color noise pattern. And this is a good way to like get more like intuition on what's happening. And if you do like instead of 0.1, 0.9, then the result is different. Like it becomes like more time, like keeps like black for like longer time. So the OSC is shown longer, and then colorful noise texture is just like going in for a bit. And you could also like apply this technique in like different ways. Like this is for demonstration, so I'm like keeping this like wipe going in and out quite often. But if you keep this, well, okay, this is too slow actually. But maybe, actually it's interesting. I didn't know how to do it. The idea was like, you know, if you change the parameter so that, yeah, like some, for example, like this noise comes in just for like short amount of time and then fades away. Like you can change it, play with the parameters. No, yeah, something like this. So you could see that, you know, you could work a lot with this OSC pattern while live coding or whatever. I don't know. So you have like time to like really work with this, and then sometimes this comes in, like pops in, just like to give, you know, like some refreshing effect. If you don't like this wipe effect, you can always do pixelate. Pixelate 1:1, which is basically, yes, like it's just like it becomes like a flash. Do I need to explain this? Yes. I mean, I don't want to like make like flash pattern, but for example, if you do like OC 1 1 out 03, this is still like, you know, okay, it's not really good demonstration, but yeah, you see that this is like going from side to side on the bottom right. But if you do pixelate 1:1, then basically the whole texture becomes one color. So now it just looks like a fader. And if you look back into this, the top left buffer, which is the result of this mixer, you can see that this texture actually goes from O1 to O2, and it's just like a smooth fader with sine. I think I did this in the same way before, but like with this pixelate, it becomes really interesting because now you're not like, you know, bound to like different, you know, for example, like what I showed here was a bit more like chaotic kind of, yeah, like I can just highlight this again. This is a little bit more chaotic with like the whole surface changing. But if you look into this one, for example, it's like more like a uniform change across the screen. And of course, you can do like noise, like same trick with noise. And it's a little bit tricky because, yeah, let's just do it like this. So now what's happening here is that, okay, maybe I would add threshold. The thing with noise is, again, like it's going from -1 to 1. So if you do it with threshold at 0, then it kind of like gives like same opportunity for like a negative number and positive number to appear at 0 or 1. Anyways, this is a kind of remapping technique. And now, like, with OSC, it's always periodic. That's the principle of like sine waves. Like, yes, you know it. It's periodic. But noise pattern is not. The idea is that it's more like kind of random, but like smooth random. So now you can't really see the rhythm between this OSC and noise pattern. Like now it just like fades in like super fast, but it doesn't mean that. I think in average, both texture appear at the same probability. Okay, so maybe I will refactor this a little bit and maybe like use this mask textures as O3, so you could like switch between like different textures, and I will put this example in the comment down below so you can play around with it. And also if you have questions, suggestions, whatever, like please feel free to comment down below. And if you like the video, please like it, subscribe, and see you in the next video.